Hi, this is Jennifer from ProJan Professional Cleaning and Restoration, standing outside Doug and Kate's home, where they experienced a devastating soot loss. They were so happy with ProJan's response and work that they invited us back into their home, and we're taking you with us. Let's have a look.
When I first walked into my home, I was alone, and I did not know it was soot damage. When I first came into my home, it was evening, and I noticed that I had some gray marks on my white countertops.
It took a while for it to sink in that this event had occurred. We both noticed smudges on our white countertops. I went downstairs and right away I realized we had had a major event and we had a problem on our hands.
He said, I think we're going to need more than a regular cleaning group to come in here and help us. How did I feel when I learned that I had soot in my house? I was in shock. But I will tell you, my husband went into problem-solving mode, and that's when he called ProJan.
By now, it was 9:30 at night, so we started making calls to the furnace supplier, the people who work on our boiler. Kate started talking, got online to write some emails for some folks to ask, who do you know that could help us with this situation?
Unanimously, it came back, call ProJan, call ProJan, call ProJan. They had heard of your name.
Initially, our insurance company actually wanted to recommend another firm, and I said, no, we've already gotten strong testimonials to work with ProJan, so I'd like to use them.
They were out here the next day. ProJan was ready to talk to us. They sent a team. They were so helpful. Something else that I really appreciated was how Chris and Carolyn and their team really understood that we really wanted to stay in this home. Chris and Carolyn developed a complete plan. By the second night, Doug and I could be safely living in this house, and we could navigate the rooms that we needed most. Now that was very helpful, and that was very comforting. But this was truly the most stressful homeowning experience that I have ever endured. And now that I'm sitting here in my very clean house on the other side of the situation, I have to thank you for your very prompt response for coming in, restoring it back to exactly as it was, getting everything properly placed, and letting us be able to come back to just living in our home and enjoying it and feeling safe. So I do thank the team.
We really we hit it off well with the ProJan restoration team. Right away we got to know Chris Ortman, we got to know Carolyn. I think I had their cell numbers so I could text them with questions. They told us when they would be here. Rick and everybody we dealt with ProJan was a professional, and ProJan knew what would be involved, the steps in the situation. There's a lot of intricacies to this house. Every wall and ceiling is tongue and groove paneling. They had been through it before, and they said, no, to get this clean, we have to wipe every inch of this. We have to wipe the ceilings. We have to wipe the fixtures and the lights up above. We have some stonework in here too. Even the stonework, they knew right away that no, you can't just smear this with a scrub brush. We're going to have to use our special sponges and cleaning techniques in order to get the grout and the stone entirely clear.
I do feel that ProJan worked extremely well with our insurance company, and I appreciate that.
The ProJan project manager made sure he was here when the insurance adjuster walked through the house and walked through it, and obviously was getting on the same wavelength with the insurance adjuster. So it was seamless for me, and I appreciated that.
They both came into the home immediately. They seemed to understand the situation. They communicated easily with one another. So I felt that I really understood this process. Again, this is all new to me.
ProJan handled it all. I'll tell you one funny story about one of the workers who was here. His name was Ben, and he said, I broke one of your light bulbs. And I just said, don't worry about it, Ben. Have a good evening. So we come into the house, and lo and behold, Ben has left a note for us that said, I'm sorry, I broke one of your light bulbs, and taped to it was a $5 bill to reimburse us. I didn't know how to handle that. What a great guy that he would do that. The next day, when the crew came in from ProJan, I told them the story. I said I wanted to get a message back to Ben that those light bulbs actually cost $5.99 at Walmart, and he still owed me $1.
I would recommend ProJan to others. Of course, I hope that any others that I know never have to experience anything like this or worse. But I absolutely would recommend your company.
Without reservation, I would recommend ProJan. I would recommend that you take every precaution to not get in a situation where you have soot all over your house, because it's not a fun event to go through. But if you find yourself in that situation from a fire damage or water damage, ProJan is the kind of company you want to do business with, because they're going to make it as stress-free as possible. And as you can see, they got the job done right.